Why am I talking about contract? And why have I made that diversion? The reason is this. There is something which unifies, yes, Western thought and Islamic thought, and it is the idea of contract. It is the idea of contract. The Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu awfu bil uqud. O you who believe, fulfill the contracts. And in liberal theory, one of the underpinning things is, got to make sure that you fulfill the contract. Because it's so obvious that chaos would ensue. Listen carefully. Chaos would ensue if contracts are not abided by. Imagine you have peace treaties between countries and they're revoked straight away because contracts are not respected. Contracts are important on everyone's worldview, on our worldview and on their worldview. Why is that important? Because imagine, listen carefully, what is the consequence, according to them, of rupturing a contract? Yeah, you can have anarchy, but usually the law has in place legal consequences, yes? If the law has in place legal consequences which can range from prison sentence to fining to death, in the case of treason, the idea that there should be a consequence attached to a severing of a contract is universally understood, almost. Except with anarchists and other people, right? But imagine this. Imagine we, as human beings, are severing a contract with the ultimate source of protection. Wait a minute. Say that one more time. I don't know how you made that diversion and you came back and what you're talking about. The ultimate source of protection, we believe, is Allah. He provides the ultimate source of protection. So, isn't it the same logic to suppose, to postulate, to submit, to say that if you break the contract that was initially in place, the mithaq, and that you agreed upon in the primordial state, if you sever that contract, there should be a consequence. And it's within the rights of the source of protection to remove that protection from you. That's why the question that's usually postulated in these discussions is, if God is so merciful, then why does hell exist? Why is he putting the people in the hellfire? What kind of merciful God is that? You're putting the people in the hellfire. What kind of justice is that? The hellfire is an ultimate manifestation of the removal of Allah's protection from humans. Say that one more time. The hellfire is an ultimate manifestation of the removal of Allah's protection from human beings. And since we agree on the premise that it's consequentially justifiable to say that protection should no longer be afforded to those who sever the contracts, then what more contract more problematic to sever than the one who's providing for you in all aspects and domains and spheres of life? The answer to that question is the people that don't understand the hellfire and the punishment therein are those same people that don't understand the severity of the contract that they have agreed to and that they were reminded of in this world. So you see, it all makes sense now. But someone may argue and say, but hold on, no problem. I understand this concept. I understand, yes, that if you sever the contract, there should be consequences. Yeah? If you sever the contract, there should be consequences. From this perspective, God is within his rights to give you those consequences. So what then about proportionality? For instance, if someone was a kafir or disbeliever, someone who severed the contract. Because what is a disbeliever? A disbeliever is someone, kafir literally means kafara, from the farmer. He's a farmer. Because he's literally covering the truth. Like the seed, you coat it with soil. And the truth, you're covering it with falsehood. And that is the ultimate manifestation of the severing of the contract. But the question of proportionality will come into play, because they'll say, okay, if they were disbelievers for 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, or 20 years, then why should they be in the hellfire forever? And this is a lack of proportionality. Yes, this is a lack of proportionality. Well, we say to that, who told you that time should all be treated equally and sins should be connected to time inextricably? Let me give you an example. And this brother of mine called Abdullah Andalusi, we were discussing this. He was giving me these pointers. It was a really good example he gave. I like to give him credit for that. He said, for example, if someone takes out a knife and he stabs someone, goes straight for the jugular and kills the person in 3 seconds. Yes? If someone does that in 3 seconds, should they be punished for 3 seconds? On this logic, they should be. Why not? 3 seconds. You only were transgressing for 3 seconds. So go into prison for 3 seconds, or do this, go to the hellfire for 3 seconds. No. Clearly, there is a problem with equating time here. So the idea is shirk, or the association of partners with Allah, is valued so epistemically high in the ranking of crimes, because it is the ultimate rupturing of the most important contract, that even doing it for 1 second, even believing in that and doing it for 1 second, it's conceivable for 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, and you die upon it, and those are your last 5 seconds, that you will be in eternal punishment in the hellfire. And that is logically, rationally justifiable on both worldviews. Because to understand Allah and Tawheed, we must understand shirk and how dark and horrible and evil and grotesque and disgusting this crime is. How dare someone redirect their veneration, their love, their awe, their hope, their fear from the one who's offering all sources of hope and all sources of protection from fear, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the most problematic and egregious and the most vile of crimes any human being can do. Worse than theft, worse than murder, worse than rape. There's nothing worse than that. Why is murder wrong? Because it's an ultimate violation of someone's right to life. Why is rape wrong? Because it's an ultimate violation of a man or a woman's right to dignity and to decision making in sexual intercourse. So why is shirk wrong? Because it's an ultimate redirection. It's an ultimate redirection of all of the attitudes, the beliefs, and the actions that should be positioned to the one who allows them to be positioned to anything in the first place to other than him. It's the worst kind of oppression. Shirk is the worst kind of oppression.